But again, this is what's important. But again, this is what's important.
Ooh, bam! What up, y'all? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. My bad, I'm a little late today. Apologize. Yeah, I was trying to finish up on something, but I couldn't do it in a quick enough manner. But it's all good. So appreciate you guys rocking with us today. We are talking about boss versus leader. Boss versus leader. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it off. I know I'm not gonna belabor the time, but I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you are sharing. Sharing is caring. Joining our text community. Thank you, Lisa, for being in the building. Blessings to you. I see your message in Purpose for Forever. Appreciate you. So you go to replay. Thank you guys for always supporting, being here, and being a part of the Legacy Walker Network. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and kick this off, and we're gonna get right into our topic. All right, we'll be right back after this.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy.
Oh, meant to be my brother. There you go. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes, happy Tuesday. Appreciate you guys being here. What's up, Mark? You on mute, my brother? Soon you can hit that. Let's see. Can I do it? Probably not, because you choose to mute. All right. So I'm gonna give Mark a chance to unmute his Ms. Ike. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the Brothers of Legacy. I thank you guys.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, sir.
Appreciate you guys. Are you trying to get on your computer? All right. So like again, I said, join our community. Text LW into 84576. Text LW into 84576. What up, Richard? Good morning, sir. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Splitty splow. All right. So yes, another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I appreciate you guys being here, rocking with us as we continue our leadership's talk. We had a great conversation yesterday. As we continue, basically boss versus leader, boss versus leader. And we're going to talk about, some of the differences, some of the likes and dislikes, and all of that. Yesterday, I talked with Kaneem on camera, and we spoke about a Netflix special or documentary called How to Be a Dictator. Have you guys seen that by any chance? How to Be a Dictator. And it pretty much goes through all of our infamous dictators, from Hitler to Muammar Gaddafi to Stalin and Kim Jong. Well, no, it wasn't. It was like they went all the way back to the beginning of that dynasty. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. So kind of happened to just started binge watching it with this topic coming up, and it's been interesting how to get control, overthrow power, how to control information. And some things just look so familiar. Though it's I will say, I guess the one thing missing from the space is the executions, the level of executions that these dudes, because that's one of the biggest way to show your power, like just taking folk out, like Saddam Hussein taking out his in-laws. Like, if I would do this to my in-laws, Like, imagine what I do to you, and you're not related. So it's an interesting documentary. So yeah, we're gonna, like I said, talking about boss first leader, and just in the frame of position versus actual leadership. I think that's probably the best way to frame it. What's up, Sam? Good morning. Good morning. All right. So kicking off, would you say, like, I know we heard the term boss and leader, would you say they are synonymous, or would you say they're different? We always hear that term, sometimes people, when you're dealing with certain folks from certain areas, I know in New York, they say that, okay, boss, I got you, boss. I don't know if it's a term of endearment or sarcasm. I guess depends on the moment, So would you say there's a difference between boss and leader, or would you say they are kind of the same or different? How would you kind of define it, based on your experience or people you dealt with or people that have been in a position of power?
I mean, in the most basic
Yeah.
Example, I would say typically you would say that a leader leads, kind of by example.
Right.
And the validation of a boss is simply the person that's in charge.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That at its most
basic
elementary level.
Right.
But, a leader is a boss, but a boss is not always a leader.
Mm. Okay.
That's about as basic as I can put it.
All right. Gotcha. What about you, Mark? How would you kind of define
Anthony? I'm not sure if you can hear me, Anthony, but I can't hear you.
Yes. Oh, you can't. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me, Pastor?
Yes.
Okay.
We can hear you, Mark.
Right. Okay. So yeah, but I can hear you, Pastor, but I can't hear Anthony.
Like, I'm going to translate through Pastor.
Loud and clear though, Pastor.
Right.
But I guess he's asking our opinion of, or what our perspective of what a boss is versus a leader.
Yes.
Okay. A boss just gives orders. A boss just likes to look good. They like to relish in the fact that they are the boss. Right. because it sounds cool. You know what I'm saying? The word boss itself, it just sounds cool.
Right.
But a leader is always going to lead by example. A leader is going to show you what to do versus just telling you what to do.
Right.
A leader ain't gonna make you do nothing that they hadn't already done themselves. So yeah, a boss just looks good. It sounds good. It looks good. I done dated a couple of women who thought they was a boss. Or at least they thought they was the boss of me. And I was like, I'm gonna be a leader, and I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you, baby. Keep on him.
Right.
But yeah, that's what a leader's gonna lead by example. A boss is just gonna run their mouth. They just like to look the part. They don't want to put in no work.
Right. Let's see. Richard said sarcasm can be harsh, but equally can be a lot of fun. Being autistic mind, I understand sarcasm, and can be eloquently put someone in their place. Sam says she hears everybody, so that's good. Can you hear me yet, Mark? Mark, nope, cannot. Nope, he's not responding. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on this morning. Let's do this then. All right, so with an understanding between the boss and the leader. Why, okay, boom. Sometimes I gotta get the wheels turning. So can a boss become a leader? Like, I kind of was trying to get to it yesterday. Like, when someone just a boss, can they become a leader? Or do you feel like they'll always be stuck in the boss telling folks what to do, but never getting their hands dirty? Can a boss become a leader?
Yeah. Can someone be taught? Can someone be trained or taught to be a better a more effective leader?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah, a
That's-
boss. I mean, someone who fails to lead by example, someone who presents himself as a person who gives instructions but does not train or want to get their hands dirty.
Right.
And again, it depends on the situation, right?
Right.
Because it's not about needing to go and do it. It's making sure that people understand you're not assigning them to do something that you're unwilling to do yourself.
Right.
Right. Because we all have job descriptions. You know, if you've been hired to sweep the floor, you know, and I own the building, I don't have to sweep the floor because I pay you to do it.
Right. That's true.
Right. So in that instance, I'm your boss, but if for whatever reason you're not doing it properly or effectively, then I'll show you by example what the outcome should be when you're finished with the task. Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is a boss who refuses to do that can be taught a better way, a more effective way to lead.
Right.
You know, maybe they don't get it on paper. Maybe they need an example, and a leader is one that is willing to lead by example and not just by
okay. I got you.
Command.
Man, I got you. Oh, so okay, so with that, let me take a quick break. I'm gonna see if I can reset and maybe Mark can hear me. Because I want to really dig into okay, he's resetting. Okay. He'll be back. Because I wanted to kind of dig into the whole notion of have you seen that happen? You know, someone who was like a boss and transformed into a leader. Like, you know, they were kind of always telling them, always, you know, being more positional than holding leadership, you know, showing and building something on, and they transformed. They was very I'm about to start making a word boss-stick, very boss-like, and you know, transformed into a leader. All right, Mark, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we good now, man. I was having some technical difficulties, but I'm good now.
Awesome. So have you seen anybody ever transform from a boss to a leader? Like, have you seen someone that was like a doodle bird boss, you know, just that dude that just you hate coming, you know, like coming to work, or even could be like ministry that over a certain department, like, oh man, they here today? I thought they're gonna be off, you know. Almost your demeanor is it almost is based on them being there, like, are they off tomorrow? Oh yeah, it's gonna be a great day. It's gonna be a great day. You know, like, good morning, Cheryl. Good morning. Oh, have you ever seen that transformation happen? You know, doesn't mean it doesn't. Doesn't mean it, like we said, can't. But have you seen it ever happen? I gotta say, I've not. Like, I've not seen or been around someone long enough, I guess, for that doodle birdness to get better. You know, or even reach an understanding of, oh, that's why you do that. You know, like, and then you kind of like, okay, and then you see kind of a transformation and things of that nature. Have you seen that happen?
I can't really, nothing really stands out. Now I've seen bossy people get humbled.
Okay.
You know, I've seen a bossy person get humbled a couple times or whatever, but personally, I've never seen a boss just transition into a leader for whatever reason. I mean, I think people are how they are. Like I said, I've seen people who are bossy and people who are like that, and you know, they get humbled. But I don't know, like Pastor was saying, man, a leader. I think leaders are made. Leaders aren't born. I think leaders are made.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
I think naturally.
Right.
I think it just innately we're bossy. You know, we want to be a boss. Like I said, I think that's just innate. But to be a leader, I think you have to be made. Like a good example, when I think about my father, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think about his church and his ministry.
Right.
and he loves to tell the story of. Now, my father's a bishop
Right.
in the biggest black church, the biggest black Pentecostal church, Church of
Right.
God in Christ.
Right.
He often talks about how he started off as an usher in church. I mean,
Right.
from a lay person to an usher
Right.
to a musician to a deacon, then to a minister, elder,
Right.
pastor, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So basically, he's played every role
Right.
in ministry that you can play, up to the point where now it makes him a great leader because he understands
Right.
and he knows what
Right.
each entity is supposed to do.
Right.
And he knows how to do. Like I said, he understands the role because he's been there. Like I said, a good leader ain't gonna ask you to do something that they haven't already done or they're not willing to do themselves.
Right. Right.
So and even though he's the pastor and he's the bishop and things like that, I have seen him roll up his sleeves,
Right.
go to that church, pull out the vacuum cleaner, or pick up a paintbrush,
Right.
or do whatever.
Right.
Whether take out some trash.
Right.
So to me now, we have people that do that is assigned to that, but a good leader understands.
Leaders serve. Yes, indeed.
Right. Like what's supposed to go down. Like I said, I think leaders are made, not born. So
Interesting. So, Pastor, have you seen the transformation happen?
You mean from it can't get right?
right. and
yes.
just, so, okay.
I have. I've seen it happen in a number of occasions where, because a lot of it is just, some of it is immaturity.
Right.
Some of it is just procrastination. Some of it is just bad training. Some folks just wasn't raised right.
That part, Pastor.
Yeah.
That part.
But for those who have a desire to get better, they live under that moniker, when you know better, you do better.
Right.
Right. And it's great to see that evolution. I saw it in the military with somebody who, when I talked to the recruiters before going into the military, they said, start doing push-ups now so that you won't struggle as much when you get in there. And I was wondering, do all recruiters tell people that? Because when I got to basic training, there were people who couldn't do 5 push-ups.
Wow.
And I'm like, what did you think was going to happen when you got here? So I saw someone who couldn't do 5 push-ups day one end up maxing out on the PT, the physical fitness test, by the time we finished with basic training. I saw somebody who couldn't march, couldn't figure it out. You knew if he was on the dance floor, he couldn't keep the rhythm.
Right.
Being able to do DNC drill and ceremonies, march and all that, stay in step. I've seen that happen, and it's a great thing to see. I've seen people. I mean, I've seen it in a number of occasions in my life, but I've also seen where it didn't work. I've also seen I've had to terminate somebody. Being notoriously late for work. I'm like, are you or are you not trying to feed your family?
Right.
True. And it's like, and they get mad at you because they can't get it right.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Fault. So I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it work out, and I've seen it not work out. But it's an awesome thing to see somebody evolve into a better person, into a more efficient worker, and get the act together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yes, Cheryl. Tough love.
So we talked about the leaders are kind of like made, not born. We talked about yesterday. We always have the potential for great things. It's just about the nurturing, the seeding, the growing, and all of that, and positioning. Go ahead.
Just a point to that, because when you think about leaders being born versus being made, right? Leaders are always made, but there are certain personalities that take to development easier faster than others. And you
Right.
can say, oh, wow, this person was born to lead.
Right.
Because when you start putting them through the training and all that, they
Right.
just,
You just
they absorb it like a sponge,
right.
and they excel versus someone else who needs remedial training.
Right.
So you can tell the personalities that were just born to do great things versus those that, and I believe everybody's born to be great. I really do believe that. Not everybody will be.
Right.
I tell people the difference between, I tell young people, children, when I talk about their grades, are you having, do you have a good grade or a great grade?
Great. Right.
Right. And I ask them to answer, what's the difference between good and great?
Right.
And I teach them the difference between good and great is focus. A little more focus can make good great. And so I think everyone has the potential, but not everyone achieves it.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I'm having some more technical difficulties. Hold on. One of my alarms went off and it knocked out my audio. Hold on. I'm sorry. Give me 2 seconds.
You good. Oh, so yeah. So with that, becoming a great leader, the born and the potential. I had a question in my head. That's what I'm trying to get back to it. What do you? With the potential, right, and the training. I think sometimes it's the right space. Putting like me leading over anything that would be like engineering, like math orientated or something like that would be a struggle because that's not my strong suit. Like something that I'm good at, that's my strong suit, leading in this space, I think makes a difference as well. Like having me lead a choir, like though I know what I want to hear, I don't know. I don't have the path to get you there. All right, you ready? So I think I think sometimes it's positioning. We talk about positioning. Make sure you're in the right position because, like, if I'm that dude that's determined to be in a position, though I may not be the most qualified, I just want to lead. I just want to be in charge of something. And like I said, Pastor put me over the choir, make me over the musicians and stuff like that. I might wreak havoc because it's not what I do. I know what I want to hear, and we talked about yesterday, like a thing about a boss or a leader, someone that makes a great leader is being able to listen, and I'm not listening. I'm like, Mike, I got this. I know you've been playing for over 15 years. I just got here, but I got this. And it's those moments. I think sometimes we may have people in the wrong position and they're trying to be a leader, but they're more of a just boss seat. They think, if I know, like I said, I know what I want to hear, but if I don't have the skill sets to shape, my people to get there, then it's like, the square? I got a square peg trying to push it through a round hole, like I'm trying to force something in the wrong direction. So to those, I think it's positioning, because I think some people are like, I've said a lot of times, I've seen a lot of pastors. I think they're great in certain spaces, but to be a full pastor is like, I don't like, you shouldn't be a full pastor. Like, you're good, but I think if you got that's where I can put it. Like, you're good, but you should hook up with Pastor McCory because he would love to have you. That you would be a strong Sunday school runner. Like, this is if you really focused on one particular space, you can kill it. Like, you could take what you do probably to the national church. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'll be your path instead of running a whole church. So I think it's those things, that the positioning, would you agree? Like, sometimes some people are bossy because they're in the wrong position, not that they can't lead, but they're just in the wrong space. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think you can be, there's a such thing as being inappropriately assigned or misassigned or misaligned. And we see it quite often. The frustration is, in a lot of cases, it hurts the project, the mission, the people.
Definitely.
When that happens, if it's not caught early enough. I don't expect a leader to be great at all things. I expect a leader to have a clear vision.
Right.
T Little.
What's going on up in this piece? Hey y'all, what's going on? I am here.
I expect
I'm
a leader,
feeling
an effective
right
leader,
now.
will have a clear vision,
Right.
and can make that vision understandable.
Right.
Right. Who can effectively communicate that vision,
Right.
and then put the right people in place for execution of the vision.
True.
But there are great leaders that are very impatient.
That's good. Right.
There
right.
are
My
right.
dad,
Say it again.
my father. My dad.
Say what?
Prime example.
Earl was like, oh, I didn't expect that one.
No,
What?
it comes with age. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
no doubt.
70s. He's 76.
Wow.
You know, and
Right.
he's still moving cool. But yeah, when you said that, Pastor, I was like, yeah, that's him. Impatient, Lord Jesus. But anyway.
Well, I think, and sometimes I think we confuse, like what you're talking about. It sounds like, because with age, I think it's not so much impatience. It is, let me know when it's done. And if you come back talking to me halfway through, but it's not done, I'm not trying to hear from you. Because
Right.
once I have issued the expectation, it is my expectation that you'll let me know when it's finished. Certain leaders don't want to hear what we got. They don't want to hear the check-in.
Okay.
Right.
They want the full. They want
They want the report.
They want to know that it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't come back to me.
That because certain leaders feel like, well, that's why I have you.
Right. Right.
You're there to manage the milestones. You just let me know when it's completed. Don't come to me with milestones.
Right.
And that could show as a sign of impatience. And sometimes that can be confusing to people, to managers of missions.
Indeed.
Can I give an example of that? Hey, Pastor Brian. Hey, everybody. Let me say that first of all. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. I want to a prime example of what Pastor Brian is talking about as far as leadership is as far as the expectation of wanting to get done. I just watched the movie Cars last night. Right now, you remember Cars?
Yeah.
Lightning McQueen and all that. And Doc wanted him to fix the road. Right.
Right.
And so that was his expectation for him to fix the road correctly. Lightning went back to Doc going, hey, I finished the road. I want you to, that's not how I want you to do it. So I can totally understand what Pastor is saying about with older folks. They just want it done. Don't come to me halfway. Don't say, I did this part. I'm almost there. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear that. But leaders and bosses, are you a leader or a boss?
Right.
But what about those leaders that and they have the best intentions?
Mm-hmm.
But what about the leaders that has to have their hand in everything, like the micromanagers and the, like there are people in, like you said, there are people in place that manage a certain area.
Right.
But you got some leaders that have to just be in the mix of every single thing. They don't even wait for you to come to them with a report or nothing like that. They got to come in
like
and
did
just like it. Is that effective leadership?
It depends on the layer.
Say it again, Pastor.
It depends on the layer, right, that you're operating in. It depends on the, what the mission is, what the vision is, right? Because there are certain things like the best way that I can put this is in corporate America, right? You have a CEO, a chief executive officer.
Right.
You have a CIO, a chief information officer.
Mm-hmm.
You have a CISO, a chief information security officer.
Right.
You have a CFO, a chief financial officer. Right. And the CEO is the orchestrator of all things organization.
Right.
That's the visionary. That's the strategy chair, right? And then you have these other leaders who align themselves with the CEO. These are all C-level executives.
Right.
And depending on the size of the company, right? If you have 50,000 employees across the globe, I don't expect to see the CEO standing in a file clerk's office checking to see if everything is being filed correctly.
Right.
You would expect a supervisor to be in there doing that.
Exactly.
Right. An office supervisor is a leader, and an office supervisor is going to be closer to the task. So they are going to be somewhat of a micromanager because they got to check to make sure the papers are right. Right. The supervisor's director just gets a report from the supervisor. That director has to effectively manage that supervisor, and they got to make sure they dot their I's and cross their T's. I don't expect the CEO to be in the supervisor's office making sure the supervisor is watching or effectively managing the file clerk. The CEO is expecting a report to get up the chain.
Come on, Nikita.
Right. The supervisor says we're filing approximately 3,000 reports a day. Right. The director is saying across these three offices, we're averaging this number of files a day. Right. So I know it sounds confusing, but the point that I'm trying to make is the supervisor is a leader. That supervisor is supposed to be micromanagement. If the CEO is in the supervisor's office, that's unhealthy for the company because I would expect that the CEO would be doing other things.
True.
Right. So yes, to your point, it depends. So if I'm a CEO of a company and I got 5 employees, I'm checking with the file clerk.
Yeah.
You understand? But if I have 500 employees, there should be someone else looking at that. Otherwise, I'm missing out. I'm out of place. I'm out of position as it relates to the mission or the strategy or the vision of the organization. So it can be very unhealthy. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I agree there. I think maybe a check-in, a downline check-in, which what I mean, just kind of surveying under, like the person under you checking who's the boss of them, so you know that everything's flowing, everybody's good, everybody's happy with the process, things of that nature. But a constant, overriding of Mark, you're supposed to be my second in command. I'm going over your head down the line, and making decisions. And then you're like, why are you doing that? Well, which call came? And now you're just like, well, then I'm going home. Why am I here? Why am I here?
Yeah. I hate micromanaging. In my profession, what I do, my sales managers we have one manager in particular who micromanages out the wazoo, and she don't care, and she's going to make sure, because when she micromanages our stuff, it affects her personally, because if we don't hit the stats that we need to hit during the course of the month, it reflects her. So some managers, I think, when they micromanage, it's for a purpose. I don't think they micromanage just to be, silly, or micromanage, just micromanage for the sake of micromanaging. I think there's a activity behind it.
I mean,
because if you don't hit the spot, you don't hit the spots.
I get it. So if we got a sales team and and passes over the sales team, and like you guys, like you're small, you part of the sales team. Right. And we're not hitting numbers. I'm like, all right, Pastor, what's our strategy going into next quarter? Boom, boom, boom. And you tell me the strategy, other than no, let's do this. Me and him hash it out. And I was like, this is what we're going to do. And then he should be taking it to y'all. And maybe I sit in to see how he executes. And then I see your reaction. You understand what I'm saying? Like, only way I'm stepping in is if Pastor, I'm like, yo, these people aren't feeling what you're saying. Right. This is not being received. So I got to all right, guys, let me break it down in simple terms. Like that but then that's when there's a problem. That's when like me and Pastor going into office later, like, all right, yo, you do this, boom, 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 good. I just need you to tweak this. I'm like, that's when I have to step in if there's a problem. Like, but every day, or even if we're not hitting the numbers, I need to trust my sales managers to make it happen.
But you know what, too? With that, if you are a micromanager or what have you, it's everything that you say out your mouth is all about delivery. So you can deliver one message, and just be so. Most micromanagers, by some folks, will tell you that they're buttholes. They don't want to. They don't listen. They're very annoying. They're overbearing. All that good stuff. But see, with the micromanager, I think it's all about delivery. You can deliver the message that you want to deliver without tearing down the people you talk to. That's not micromanager.
As long as I'm not contradicting. Like, okay, now that Pastor gone, now I promoted Mark. Like, long as I'm not coming to you, Terry, and contradicting what I may be telling Mark. Mark, you're on mute if you're saying something, if you're trying to speak. If as long as I'm not contradicting, nope, okay. As long as I'm not contradicting what Mark is saying, nope. You have to go out and come back in when they music like that, as long as I'm not contradicting, I think there's a way. There's a way. When now I got to fire Mark, now I got you. I don't have a sales team yet. I got waste. I lost everybody. I think long as I'm not contradicting Mark and making.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Yes.
There we go.
I think, and I get what you're saying, the way you say it, but I think the problem with the micromanage, like, I guess as long as my micromanage may be to Mark and not to everybody else. That's, I think, the key. Mark, you get this done. Hey, Mark, you get that done. Hey, Mark, you got some numbers. Hey, Mark, like, it's driving him crazy. And then he's on top of you, Terry. Please get that report in. Please.
Yeah, please get it. I need that report.
Yeah,
I need that. I need that.
Especially
leadership is about adjustments. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It's about adjustments. It's about, I think, like, we all know micromanaging itself, it can be annoying, and we can all do without it. But I think a good leader knows when to micromanage, or they know who to micromanage. Like you said, they know who. Like, a good leader knows what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Right. Like I said, if I know I can trust Anthony. Hey, if I give him an assignment, all I got to do is leave him alone. He'll go get it done.
He's gonna get it done.
Right. If I don't, like, you got people like that. As long as I don't bother you, I know you're gonna get it done. Leave them alone. But you got some other people, man. You got to go check on them, tap them on the shoulder, like, hey, you good?
You got to. Let going on break.
Don't be head yet.
Right.
They got to go looking for us. They was looking for us. Yeah.
Right. A good leader knows when to micromanage, knows who to micromanage. Or make the adjustments. Or, like I said, a good leader understands everybody's role. So if he's asked to do something a little extra, like if somebody's missing that day, like, hey, but we still got to get this done. A good leader says, okay, well, I know how to do it because I've done it. And so, like I said, but I think it's all about adjustments. It's all, and I think a good leader should know how to micromanage effectively.
Yes, that's a prerequisite right there.
Right. Like I said, that you should know how to we all think we think micromanagement is a bad thing because we think somebody breathing down our neck. Right. But no, micromanaging is when done correctly. It's basically giving special attention.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because organizations fall apart when people are, when they don't know who, if they're not effectively managing who's, in charge of a certain department. They get far gone, like, wait a minute, how do we fall $2 million in debt? Wait a minute. Wait,
you know what? I remember they interviewed what coach was that? I want to say Lou Holtz. I don't know if y'all remember the legendary coach Lou Holtz, and of
course,
Notre Dame. He coached Notre Dame and University of South Carolina.
Okay.
And they was talking to Lou Holtz, and they said, "Do you treat all of your football players the same?" And he said, "Absolutely not." Right. He said, "I don't treat all of them the same." He said, "Because they're not the same."
Right.
He said they're not the same. He said, I got some players who I know they're going to get out there. They're going to work their butt off. They're going to do, if I ask them to do something, they're going to do it.
Right.
He said, then I got some other players, they need a little more work.
Yeah.
Right. You know
You gotta
what I'm
go
saying?
looking for them, baby. That's not the way of the world. You know?
Right. Right. So he was like, no, they're not all the same. A good leader recognizes all these employees, all these workers ain't the same. So I have to adjust. If you are one way with everybody, I think that's ineffective.
Yeah, you're gonna lose people.
Sense.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If you are the same way, if you are a leader, right?
Right.
And you are the exact same way with everybody, and you expect everybody to do the exact same thing, I don't think that's effective. You have to know how to, you got to reach people where they are, basically.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's how that goes.
Right.
Yeah. It still takes a teamwork to work the same.
Yeah,
mission.
you're right.
You have to have people that are on the same page with it, the same dream that you have. Everybody gotta have the same dream. If you got somebody who had the attitude of "Don't bother me today, I didn't come here to work," those people, you gotta go.
That ain't in me.
So as long as you got people that are on the same page with you, I mean, teamwork doesn't make the dream work, indeed.
But that's different. What you're talking about is different. Don't bother me today.
I didn't come to work.
I mean, if you got people that in your circle, though, is what I'm saying.
Say it again.
If you got people like that's on on your team, and you have to micromanage them the ones gonna give you the attitude all the time.
You won't last very long on my team if you show up for work saying "Don't bother me today."
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You're not gonna take that. No.
Right. Yeah.
Those people got to weed out.
Oh yeah.
But
that is a pet peeve.
I know that's right, mine.
But you being a man of God,
right? And
I believe you have a discerning spirit, and being a good leader. Right. If somebody comes in is like, hey, don't bother me. I think you have the wisdom to understand that when somebody is having a bad day or somebody is going through a rough patch, and
absolutely. But again, it goes back to, see, you said something earlier that I wanted to hit on. It's all about effective management of expectations.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When you bring, like, people who come in and operate within the realm that I manage, right. I make it very clear what type of atmosphere we're operating in.
Right.
Right. And yeah, you can have a bad day. But your bad day is not supposed to negatively impact someone else on your team.
Right.
That's absolutely
and so it's important that you said, and yeah, you're right. Somebody can come in there and they can make the statement, and we got to get it right. I mean, you can feel like that, but we can't talk like that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I have no problem with you coming in like, what, today is just, because I said to my family, listen, today is just not it. This is just, I'm having a rough time. But my commitment is we can bring it back around.
Right.
Just not at this moment.
Right.
Right. I go a long way to do that. And I know everybody doesn't operate like that. You have some folks just where they come from. They're like, look, just leave. Nope, not today. Don't mess with me today. Right. And to your point, what I'm saying, when I say you won't last long, what I'm saying is we can deal with that situation, but we're going to have to talk about it. We got to talk about how you process and how you act in a moment like that.
Right.
And your absolute refusal to get that right is going to limit your time as part of the team.
Determination.
That's because you're right. I'm not going to just kick you out because you said that. That's that's not it.
I mean, especially
everything is a process.
If you're pretty good employee and you're consistent, you just come in like, man, I don't really want to be here today. Because life could be so heavy. Like you got stuff going on outside, or you're just like, man.
But that works. Like if you're in an office that doesn't have traffic,
right,
you can have that attitude.
Right.
But you can't be at Publix as a cashier saying not today.
Not today.
Not today.
Back
You're not
home,
getting
bro.
anything extra today.
Right?
2 packets of
Get out
ketchup.
my
That's
line.
it.
Yeah.
Back your own groceries, man.
Right.
Yeah, you should have called in.
Okay, so let
Yeah.
me ask
Thanks for
another
PTO.
question.
Uh-oh.
What
All right.
happens when the leader is having a bad day?
Woo.
I have bad days.
Yeah.
Right.
I really do. I have them.
Okay, so what happens, Pastor? And I propose this question to everybody. So what happens, Pastor, when you walk in
Yes.
and your team is expecting you to give directives and to lead, and you feel in your heart like, I don't feel like being here today. I'm having a rough day. I don't want to be here.
Right.
I'm gonna grind it out.
Mm.
Okay.
I'm gonna grind it out. What you want to know why? But again, the reason I'm gonna grind it out is because a leader leads by example, and I'm gonna play hurt.
I like that.
Right? Because it sets an example for others to emulate.
Play hurt.
If he can do it, I can do it. What I tell people is just like they do in sports: play hurt, don't play injured.
True.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Know the difference.
Okay.
You know.
I was just here to say.
Yeah, because if I'm not healthy, like I've had days where I didn't want to preach.
Right.
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 But I didn't have a backup plan.
Yeah, that's boom right there. I like that too. Hold on, let me get Cheryl's comment. She said, "The attitude without showing it is important." And I get Rick's comment in a minute. Sam said that's where your team is supposed to step in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Play hurt, but don't play injured. I agree. Like when it comes to that, like you coming in and we all have the I don't feel like it days. Like you gonna have like I'm kind of just pressing through. I'm just dragging my body. I'm gonna do my job.
Yeah.
And if I got to smile, it's gonna be there. Welcome. But this is gonna be this is a press. But I think being able to be transparent with someone around you, like I've had coworkers. I'm like, man, this ain't the day. I'm trying. So if they see something getting a little hot, they may step in like, okay, I know Ant's not having the best day. Let me try to let me try to step in,
rally
before
around
this thing goes somewhere without it shouldn't, because I know he's having a rough one. So it's that's the team to step in and like, okay, I feel like Pastor may come in like I feel like it. So we're gonna have a little longer praise and worship. Hey, Mike, listen, Pastor, we got to ramp it up a little bit. Let's go. And do things to be still effective in whatever it is, but at the same time, like get the ball further down the field so he ain't got to run as far. Like how could we compensate, for their being hurt, because we compensate when someone's not there, right? But how do we compensate when one of our team members are hurt, or just just hurt? Like I said, play injured, not hurt. So if you're a little hurt, how do we compensate so that we can continue whatever the goal is and get to our intended goal, at least for the day, without it affecting everybody. Like, ooh, passing it up and his emotions is just like right on the sleeve. Yeah. What I can't stand is when, and then you gotta, and then all these Negroes,
you gotta rally around. No, you gotta rally around.
But remember that everything has to do with where you are at the time, right? Because it's one thing. Like for me, when I was 25, everybody probably would have known I was up there playing hurt, right? But I've learned, I've grown over the years. There's certain things you don't want to expose in that moment, right? So you got to play hurt. You got to press through, and take you some aspirin when it's all over. I've preached sick. I've preached hurt. I've preached broken. And very few people have noticed. And the thing is, and here's the part that people have to understand. Doesn't matter what walk of life, doesn't matter what you do for a living, right? When you're passionate about your purpose, when you're passionate about what you're doing, you can play hurt. but it's the less passion you have for what you're doing, the harder it is to play hurt. And that's what Mark is talking about. When you got somebody that says not today, that somebody ain't really passionate about what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Because the impact, the effect that you have in providing a service to somebody should be what drives you. Right. And so if you're if you're just there to collect a paycheck, if it's just what I do,
it's just my job.
There's no telling what you're going to hear from me.
They had the old Marshawn Lynch spirit. I'm only here, so I won't get fined. You know what I'm saying?
But guess what? But here's the thing. I have so much respect for Marshawn Lynch because he wasn't trying to vex people.
Nope.
Right? He was like, I know this is part of the job.
Right.
But I told y'all day one, this is not what I was hired for.
Right.
True.
Right?
Love it, yeah.
And he was so passionate about what he did on that field.
Absolutely.
They made room for him.
Right. Because that's your job, right?
Yeah.
On the field, right.
Yeah. And he didn't and when he was acting like that, he didn't negatively impact anybody.
Right.
Because it didn't have any impact on the final score of the game. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You think about it.
Yeah.
In fact, it had drawing power.
Yeah.
People was looking for Marshawn. Let's go get Marshawn Lynch. He's always going to be something interesting coming out of his mouth.
Right.
Even when he says nothing is interesting. So what I'm saying is you have to count up the cost for whatever it is that you're doing. And the earlier point was make sure that your off day doesn't negatively impact the goal, the task, the mission. When it starts to do that, that's when we have real problems.
Right. Indeed.
So boss versus leader. A boss will fire you. A leader will say, we can't do that like this.
That's not right. Yeah.
So does a boss? I was thinking about something as you was talking, Pastor. And like I said, going back again to my football references. So Vince Lombardi, the legendary football coach.
I know him.
Yeah, he said, you know him. So a lot of people said Vince Lombardi led with fear. He led by fear.
Right.
The fear of you losing your job, or the fear of you losing money or getting cut from the team.
Right.
And then you fast forward to a coach like Dick Vermeil, who coached Kurt Warner and the Rams back in 1999 to the most unlikeliest of Super Bowl contenders.
Right.
They were at the bottom of the barrel. So Dick Vermeil was an encourager. He came and patted you on the back, lifted you up.
Right.
You can do it. You can do it. Now both are Super Bowl champions, and both are legendary coaches.
It's good.
But one led with fear, and the other one led with encouragement.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So is it effective? Is one more effective than the other, or does there needs to be a balance?
That's a good one.
I think it's important that there's always a balance. However, how successful was the taskmaster versus the Cub Scout leader?
I like that.
Right? Can you compare Lombardi's record with Vermeil?
I mean they're both successful, but Lombardi has more trophies.
Right.
The trophy that it's got his name on. I mean,
so one would argue, and remember, Vermeil came after Lombardi.
Right.
So one would argue, because think about this: Bobby Knight couldn't coach any college basketball team today.
Sure, dude, crazy.
Right.
But the Hoosiers, they were some bad folks back in the day.
Right.
Fear. Yeah.
I know.
Right.
The team was fear. Yeah.
Yeah. You ran with fear. Right.
And we say, we may look down our nose at Lombardi, but at that time, what he did was acceptable.
Yeah.
Dick Vermeil was a new generation coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
And Vermeil struggled at first,
He did.
right? Because he was too soft.
Yeah.
Right. And so it required an evolution, a retraining of sorts. And so what I'm saying is everything is attached to a season. So there was a time, like, remember this, man? Look, I remember the whoopings we used to get. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm still real careful how I talk to my mother today.
Keep it a buck, man. Keep it a buck.
So yeah,
but if I did to my child what my mother did back then,
right,
yeah,
I'd be on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So but guess what? When I look at the mindset of a lot of young people in this generation, they need to go back to the 60s.
They do. They do. I agree with you there.
Right.
They do.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that fear is something. But I think, like overall, like sustainability, I think, the working with, to me, is more effective. I hate the fear boss. Like the moment I know that you operate in that space, I'm ready to go. Yeah. I'm being honest. Like I can't. Yeah. I don't like that level of pressure. Like I get my own pressure.
But here's what you got to realize, though, AD. Okay. You may lead with that, but that doesn't mean everybody's afraid.
Right. That's true.
Some folks will follow anyway, but they're not afraid of you.
Right.
Right. Ain't nobody scared of you.
Right. We got a job to do. They may call you out your name behind closed doors.
Right.
But there might be someone that's intimidated by that approach.
That's true. Yeah. I had a manager. I had a manager that, because like we work in places where you got the buy the book, write you up manager. And then there's the manager that'll cuss you out before they write you up.
Right.
Like when you find yourself, all right, appreciate you, Pastor. Thank you for being on. When you're in the office with the cuss out manager, he's like, because there's nothing I can do. I gotta write you up. Like I can't.
I told you.
Right. I done told you. What the? It cuss you out right there. What the flippity flip are you doing? One of those like I ain't gonna fire you, but I gotta write you up. So it's those moments. You're right. Like that. Like I said, I'd rather get cussed out. Like go and cuss me
too.
out.
I was just thinking that I'd rather get cussed out.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't document it. Just cuss me out.
Right.
Yeah. I had a manager hit me with I had a manager the other day hit me with the little boosie.
Come on, man.
I was
come on.
I was like,
come on, man.
I mean, he hit me with the little boosie. Like, come on now. Didn't I tell you? Now I gotta write you up.
Right.
Yeah, you can't walk in here. You can't walk in here with your because we selling cars. They have to be professional looking. I can't walk in there with my shirt out of my pants. And he done told me I don't know how many times. You cannot wear your shirt on the outside.
Right.
I was like, but I'm fat. He said so. I thought he was belly. And so I had to tuck it in. And so yesterday he just got tired of it. He was like, look,
right.
Put your shirt in your pants. And so he had to wrap me up though. So I understood it. So
right. Yeah. So
I used to have a manager that used to say all the time. He was a shift manager, but I used to have managers who said, man, he would say basically, man, don't lose your life over some BS.
Right.
Yeah, don't do that.
Right.
He used to say to us, man, don't lose your life over some BS, man. Like, come on. Like little small stuff like that, tuck your shirt in or make sure you got the proper look like I think it's the little things as a leader. Yeah. It's those little things that mess with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Big stuff, you can deal with it, you know what I'm saying? Because big stuff don't always occur. But when it's that little stuff, like the little gnats that just mess with you.
Yeah, man.
And after a while you get frustrated. Like it's one thing that, you see a bug and be like, oh my God, you deal with that bug that one time, but it's them little gnats
Yeah.
They keep frustrating you, and it's like, come on, bro.
Right.
Come on,
like,
man. Come on.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, don't lose your life over some nonsense, boy. Good
Right.
God.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I said, I take the cuss out any day. Just go and cuss me out. Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and get that. Let me catch that L real quick. And then we can move on.
Right.
So yeah. So we appreciate you guys rocking with us and hanging with us. Like I said, we're talking about the boss versus leader. And as you can see, leaders lead and show by example. Bosses just bossy, and we want to make sure we're leading. I won't say with an iron fist, but with a
Michael Jackson
soft hand,
glove
maybe.
fist.
Listen, hey Terry, have you seen the documentary How to Be a Dictator?
No,
Man,
Have not
it
seen
is like
I heard of it. Though.
It's incredibly interesting. If you guys need to check it out, I know how you guys feel about documentaries. I know my wife hates documentaries for the most part. I sucked into a couple of them, but yeah, she hates them. But yeah, go ahead.
Have you seen Colin Kaepernick?
I have not seen that one. I've been hearing about that.
You got to get that.
Man, it's great.
I'll give you my Netflix login. We're playing with me.
I'm good. I'm paid up for the month. I'm paid up. We good.
Hey, bro, that's.
You said right.
You gonna have
you were trying to log on. You have reached your limit. You have reached your limit. Like
who is on?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
I can't get in my own Netflix.
Right.
But you know what though? I have another one. I got another documentary that you guys should check out. If you guys have HBO or HBO Max.
Okay.
It's called 4 Hours at the Capitol.
Oh Lord, about the insurrection.
It talks about the insurrection that took place back in January.
Yeah.
And it is directly talking about the leadership style of former President Donald Trump.
Oh God,
they talk about his leadership style and how his leadership style or his boss style, let's just call him, we'll call him a boss because he ain't a leader.
Right.
Or about his boss style led to the insurrection. Right. And it is a scathing documentary, man. And it's HBO, so they don't hold nothing back.
Right.
They show all the footage that CNN can't show.
Wow.
But if you guys look at it, it's called 4 Hours at the Capitol. Take a look at that, man, and you will see what happens.
Gotcha.
You will see what happens when somebody who is just a boss versus a leader.
Right. Listen, that's why you need to watch the How to Be a Dictator. You're gonna see so many similarities. I spoke about at the beginning of the show. Everything but the executions. Everything but the execution. You like, and even some of the stuff that we as Black people beefed about. I'm telling, like, even they go to Idi Amin. Oh man, you just like,
oh yeah, he was crazy.
Are we getting bamboozled now? I'm telling you, you're gonna be looking. It's some of the same, and this was way back in the 60s. You just like, wait a minute. I'm telling you, it's interesting. It's interesting how, it's just very interesting how these guys like rose to power, how they maintain power, and the things that they did to stay in power. So it's interesting.
The Harder They Fall. Go watch that.
Right. Harder They. You said don't.
That was
good.
No, The Harder They Fall. That's a Western.
I've been hearing about that.
I love it.
I gotta go pop it.
And then you check out the soundtrack too. The soundtrack is pretty deep.
Oh, for real. But I love Regina King. So anything Regina King.
Oh yeah, man. I love Regina King since 2007.
So that's my baby mama in my head.
It's so stupid. He said, right, you must see beyond what you always see. Yeah. He said, "What? Listen, I know you don't like him, but listen, there could be books on that dude, because he kind of wrote a new playbook in politics. Listen, check out Yellowstone if you like westerns. Yeah, heard about it, see it a lot, never seen it.
It was good too.
I've seen a lot of ads for it.
But before we get out of here though, Andy, I just want to tell everybody I miss y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. Everybody that's in here, Cheryl Askew, Richard, everybody that's normally the crowd that comes in here. I miss y'all for real. So I just want y'all to know that. I miss y'all. Everybody.
All right, guys. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, same time, same channel. Make sure you join our community. Text LW into 84576 and never miss an episode. That is all. Know that we love you. God loves you more. We'll see you in the AM. As always,
We love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you guys for hanging. Make sure to share. Sharing is caring. All of my replay peoples that watch in the background that I know see